with a Syrian profile, Russia's president and the Syrian army said on Thursday that a nationwide ceasefire agreement has been reached with opposition rebels set to begin at midnight. Vladimir Putin said the ceasefire, which excludes extremist groups such as the Islamic State group and Al-Qaeda affiliate, will be guaranteed by Russia and Turkey. He also said it will be followed by peace talks between Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's government and the opposition. Moreover, Putin said he ordered the Russian military to scale down its presence in Syria. Additionally, Syria's military said it agreed to a nationwide ceasefire starting at midnight, adding that it paves the way for reactivating negotiations to end the conflict. In addition, the deal was confirmed by the Turkish Foreign Ministry. From another aspect, Russian Defense Minister said the truce will include 62,000 opposition fighters across Syria and that the Russian military has established a hotline with its Turkish counterpart to monitor compliance. Moreover, Russian Foreign Minister said that President-elect Donald Trump's administration will be welcome to join the Syrian peace process once he takes office. On to the violence in Syria. In Damascus, 7 civilians were injured by a mortar round that fell near a school in the western neighborhood of Tajhiz, according to a report by state news agency SANA. Earlier, SANA said that 2 persons were injured by a mortar round that was fired by insurgents on Damascus' Al-Mazrah neighborhood, where the Russian embassy locates. On the other hand, on Wednesday, Russia's foreign ministry said its embassy in Damascus was hit by mortar fire, adding that it landed in the embassy courtyard without exploding and another fell in the vicinity. On to Ankara. Turkey says Lebanon's militant Hezbollah group, which has sent thousands of fighters to support President Bashar al-Assad, should withdraw from Syria. In an interview with Turkey's A-Haber news channel on Thursday, Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu also said Turkey and Russia are close to reaching an agreement on a nationwide Syrian ceasefire that would come into effect by the end of the year. He also said Iran stated during talks earlier this month in Moscow that it will act as a guarantor for the Syrian government, as well as allied Shiite groups, including Hezbollah. On another front, the Turkish government on Thursday dismissed Washington's denials that it has provided weapons to a Syrian Kurdish militia force, which Turkey considers to be a terrorist group. It also complained about a lack of support from the US-led coalition to its offensive against the Islamic State group in northern Syria. Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, in his interview with A-Haber news channel on Thursday, was responding to a statement issued by the US Embassy a day earlier that said the US had not provided weapons or explosives to the UPG or the PKK. Going to the Russian crashed jet, flight recorders revealed no evidence of an explosion on board a Russian plane that crashed into the Black Sea, killing all 92 on board, but investigators haven't ruled out foul play. Russian Air Force official who heads the Defense Ministry commission conducting the crash probe said on Thursday that a cockpit conversation recorder contained the captain's words that indicated a special situation that began unfolding on board the plane. The official also said a terror attack doesn't always involve an explosion. Along with an explosion on board, there could have been some mechanical impact. Meanwhile, Russia's security agencies have arrested 7 people suspected of preparing New Year's terror attacks in Moscow on orders from the Islamic State group in Syria. Russia's main domestic security and counterterrorism agency, the FSB, said on Thursday its agents arrested the suspects in the North Caucasus province of Dagestan. It also said the suspects were preparing attacks with automatic weapons and explosives in crowded places. From another aspect, Islamist insurgents in Dagestan have mounted frequent attacks on police and officials, and some have sworn allegiance to the Islamic State group. Going to Russian-American relations, Senator John McCain wants sanctions against Russia for its alleged attempt to influence the U.S. presidential election, adding that the country remains a threat to the very fundamentals of democracy. During a visit to Lithuania, McCain said on Thursday he doubts Russia's efforts affected the U.S. electoral results. But he and fellow Republican Senator Lindsey Graham will be urging increases in sanctions on Russia for what they just attempted to do in the United States election. On the other side of the world, at least 4 soldiers killed in a border skirmish between Armenian and Azerbaijani troops. Armenian Defense Ministry said 3 Armenian servicemen died in fighting on Thursday, while Azerbaijan's Defense Ministry said one of its troops was killed in combat. However, Armenia and Azerbaijan blamed each other for the fighting. From another aspect, the 2 ex-Soviet nations have been locked in conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh. It's worth mentioning that an outbreak of fighting in April killed about 75 soldiers from the 2 sides. And moving on to our economic news. Global stocks mostly fell in thin trading on Thursday, taking their cues from a slide on Wall Street. France CAC 40 lost 0.1% to 4,841, while Germany's DAX fell 0.2% to 11,447. Britain's FTSE 100 sank 0.1% to 7,102. U.S. shares were expected to be steady on the open a day after the Dow suffered a triple-digit drop. Dow and S&P 500 futures were both roughly unchanged. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 slipped 1.3% to finish at 19,145.14, and the Shanghai Composite lost 0.2% at 3,096.10. And finally, weather news. Thick seasonal fog again has engulfed parts of the United Arab Emirates, delaying flights and causing car crashes. The UAE's National Center of Meteorology and Seismology said on Thursday that visibility dropped below 50 meters in some areas. Dubai International Airport saw flight delays and it hit Abu Dhabi and Sharjah's international airports. Moreover, Dubai police said heavy fog caused 119 traffic crashes on Wednesday and 107 on Thursday. This happens due to high humidity and falling temperatures cause the fog to roll in seasonally along the coast of the Arabian Peninsula.